Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Pro Wrestling Throwdown for the week of November 14th, 2020. This is Luke the Big Dog Williams. I'm Caleb Black. That's our in-studio producer, the Mighty Max Fury, and it's time for This Week in Wrestling Part 2, where we talk about all of the other promotions not underneath the umbrella of WWE. This week's In Wrestling Recap. Let's talk about Impact a little bit. Carl Anderson and Josh Alexander have a barn burner of a main event.
Killed it.
Physically taxing match. Alexander with those suplexes are fucking nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Anderson can bump, can work anybody. We also saw Reno Scum pick up their first tag team victory on TV that I remember anyway.
That I can remember in a long time.
Yeah. Havoc and Nevaeh pick up a win against Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood.
Yes.
Pushing toward the newly rebranded Knockouts tag team titles,
yes,
which they're bringing back. And the sad news to come out, the fact that the Rascals will be leaving Impact.
Yes. Like I said, the word on the street is that this is not a storyline, folks. Kids, this isn't a game. That they have inked a deal. If they haven't inked a deal yet,
they're in the works
of inking a deal with the WWE developmental,
which is such a shame.
It is, but it isn't. Because the experience that NXT can give these guys is something that nowhere else can.
See, and I agree with that to an extent. However, they're part of the personality for Impact's current climate, and it's going to be a hard loss to see them leave.
It is going to be,
and then you have to wonder, is NXT going to keep them together? What if one of them gets called up and the other two don't? Are they going to have the same creative freedom that they have? It's a lot. I understand.
The only thing I can see being different is the gimmick.
Yeah,
you can't be weed smokers on NXT television.
No, you cannot.
It doesn't work that way. Now, do I think that I do believe in the long run they will benefit from it? So even if they were to go there for a set amount of time in NXT just to get the experience, it is a good thing for any indie wrestler. NXT's experience of knowing camera positioning, knowing all the ins and outs of production for NXT and the way WWE does things can only make them better.
I agree, and obviously they're gonna get to mix with some of the most athletic and best competition in wrestling.
They're going to get some good matches out of it.
Yeah, and they're going to use they're all three still very young. They're all still in their early 20s. They can all move. They can all work. They can all wrestle.
Correct.
It's just personally, as a viewer of Impact, it's going to be hard to see them go. We also saw Nevaeh and Havoc pick up a win against Madison Rayne. Again, promoting the upcoming tag team women's title division. Hard-hitting match. Havoc and Nevaeh work pretty well together, given their size. And
agreed.
More up and up on the tag team situation there is that Triple XL is getting showcased. They're going to be wrestling the Motor City Machine Guns very soon.
Which will be decent.
Yeah. If you want to take this over for 1 second,
no, go ahead. We'll worry about that right now. We'll get this video shot and
there we go. We are back up and running now. AC Romero did wrestle Chris Sabin in the singles contest.
Yep.
Which, again, pretty good match.
And no one's surprised that it was a good match.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
A lot of good things are still coming out of Impact. Wait, don't close those out.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of good things are still coming out of Impact, and it's... the product's picking up, so we're happy it's back on track. Let's talk about AEW for a little bit.
Okay.
AEW following on the foothills of Full Gear. We did see, in my opinion, the best thing that happened on the TV show was the return of the bastard. Pac!
Yes, Pac,
baby!
Pac returning is a huge thing for fans of Pac, as well as AEW getting a seasoned veteran.
Yeah, a serious heel.
That you can put against, and will really work good with putting him against Eddie Kingston the way that they're going to.
Yeah, agreed. I think he's going to be phenomenal.
Next week he makes his debut, his return against the Blade.
Yeah,
which will be great.
Is half of the Butcher and the Blade.
Speaking of the Blade, that man got that name due to the color that he gets because that bunkhouse match that they had on AEW was bloody.
And I'll tell you who really, QT Marshall.
Yes.
QT Marshall showed a whole new side of himself in that match.
He really did.
It's something very athletic, hard-hitting. It was a bunkhouse brawl.
The only thing I don't get about AEW and QT Marshall and the Nightmare Brothers or Nightmare Family, whatever they call themselves, is I'm confused with the Alley Bunny thing. Like, it was going well And then all of a sudden, it's like, why was using him for such and such and such and such. And now we're back into these two teams wrestling each other after like a 6 months hiatus between the two teams.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
I agree with that. I think it's a little convoluted booking.
Because her and...
AEW having convoluted booking?
Right.
What?
Her and Brandy Rhodes and them working towards the heel push Brandy Rhodes was working.
Yeah, agreed.
The dynamic was there. And then all of a sudden, they just... step to the ship coming towards the fan, they step to the left of the fan.
Talk about my favorite part.
Sure.
My favorite part of AEW was the Brandy Rhodes promo.
It really was good.
Brandy Rhodes is Cody Rhodes' wife. For those of you who are unaware, Cody Rhodes comes out after having lost the TNT title. Says that he and Arn Anderson and the Nightmare team will not be pursuing a rematch with Darby Allin at this time. And then he goes on to say that he wants to redirect his attention to a rematch that he is long since awaited having against MJF.
Yes.
He is then interrupted by the new Total Package. Cargill is her last name. I can't remember her first name. She comes out. She cuts an interesting promo on Cody where she kind of flirts with him, and then she kind of insults him, and then she kind of flirts with him, and then she kind of insults him. And she leaves up the ramp to leave. Brandy Rhodes comes out, and every single bit of Brandy Rhodes gangsta.
Oh, yeah.
Just comes out, and it was so entertaining.
Lioness
Who
comes
the
out.
hell told you it was open mic night, bitch?
Yeah.
One of my favorite, I've got two favorite sound bites from AEW. That's one of them.
Found your kendo
stick, bitch, from Nyla Rose. If I had a soundboard, I would play that all the time.
Be prepared for later shows in the coming year to have these sound bites.
So good. And then Brandy, Heffa? So and then when she's leaving and Cargill slaps her on the ass, and then Jerry Lynn comes out and tries to hold them back.
Because, if there's going to be a chick fight.
Right.
Jerry Lynn's who I want to call and break it up.
I love, too, that Jim Ross was just like, and there's Jerry Lynn. He'll stop it.
Here comes Stasiak.
What an idiot.
Yeah.
It was so good, man. I will tell you that Jim Ross on commentary on Full Gear was in full JR mode.
He really was.
Was in full functioning, high alert JR mode.
That JR mode, that should be how JR is.
Every week. I agree. But, man, I have to admit, AEW really got me this week.
It wasn't a bad show.
The thing with Pac coming back, here's what I didn't like. Jerry Lynn already comes out, and it takes one referee, right, to hold back these two girls from fighting. And then when it comes to Pac, and he storms the ring against Kingston, the referees all storm the ring to stop it. But there's only one little referee standing between Pac and Eddie Kingston.
Right.
Initially. Eventually, they all sort of create this group, but it's like this one little guy's holding back Pac. Why didn't Pac just fuck him off and then have the other referees rush him?
Right.
And then have Kingston come up and then have the referees separate. But to have one little guy being like, stay back, and Pac being Pac, should have just fed him one.
He really should have.
Other than that, I really enjoyed
Solid show?
Yeah, I was not disappointed with AEW this week.
Give us some Wrestle Kingdom updates.
Wrestle Kingdom. So as we established last week, Jay White will challenge Naito at Wrestle Kingdom for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. On night one. They have not determined what is going to occur on night 2.
Actually, no, I'm wrong with that. The winner of the briefcase.
Yes.
Which was
Jay White.
Challenges the winner of the title match on night 1.
Right. It's Naito, and I believe it's Takahashi.
Okay, that's night 1.
And then Jay White
gets him on night 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I was talking about is they haven't determined where Naito will defend the Intercontinental title.
Yes.
That has not been determined. So Naito could end up having...
Actually, I heard that both titles. It's title.
Is it going to be title for title? Because last week they hadn't determined it.
And then the winner of that will go on and defend both titles against the guy
against Jay White on night 2.
Yeah.
So Wrestle Kingdom already looking up. I'm so glad they decided to make it 2 nights again.
They need to, otherwise we're going to be up till 6 a.m. watching it again.
The unfortunate thing about NJPW is that their pay-per-views happen our time at 3 o'clock in the morning. And they're the best pay-per-views in wrestling, but man, you got to be prepared. You got to come correct to get through a full NJPW
Especially
show.
if your match you're wanting to watch is the main event.
The day 2 main event, because I'm so excited to see.
Save your... put your alarm on for a certain time in the middle of the morning. Yeah.
The thing I like about this run with Jay White is that the initial Jay White run for the title was simply because Omega left.
Yeah.
And they kind of just threw everything on Jay White to do the transitional stuff. This is Jay White's actual climb to the belt.
A question I have for
Yes.
you is, now Moxley is still the United States champion.
Yes.
So is he going to be at Wrestle
He will be at Wrestle Kingdom. He has to defend the U.S. title.
Should wrestle with Darren Young.
I would pay for that.
Pay for that.
I would pay for that all the way.
Also, Mr. Will Ospreay has
issued a challenge for January 4th, night 1 of Wrestle Kingdom. He actually issued it months ago to CM Punk. CM Punk, for those of you who are unaware, semi-retired former WWE champion who left the business very controversially. Has not wrestled since 2013.
Has a 0-2 record in
the UFC. But Will Ospreay issued a challenge months ago, citing that if CM Punk wanted to do anything good for the wrestling business, that CM Punk would accept his challenge at Wrestle Kingdom. Now, nothing has been fully confirmed, but there are rumblings. There are rumors circulating about that CM Punk is considering accepting it based on the merit that Don Callis is attempting to bring this wrestling collective against the WWE that we've been discussing.
Any way CM Punk can get in on the fucking of Vince McMahon.
Oh, he'd want to be a part of it. So, let us know what you guys thought about Impact, AEW. What do you think about Ring of Honor, NJPW, all the stuff we don't cover in part 1. You can let us know on Facebook at facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Throwdown. You can send us an email at prowrestlingthrowdown@gmail.com. You can find us right here on YouTube, on youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Throwdown. You can follow us on Twitter at Pro Wrestling TD. And you can tune in every Saturday at twitch.com/Pro Wrestling Throwdown for the Twitch live stream of the entire show. Backstage chicanery and nonsense that you guys don't get to see in the videos. Do some of that, but also stay tuned for This Week in Wrestling History. And let me tell you, this one has a lot going on. We got a lot to talk about. Subscribe. Please subscribe. Please. If you subscribe, I'll send Luke to your house to give you a foot massage.
I will do that.
He'll do it.
I will.
He's all about it. Stay tuned for This Week in Wrestling History.